guys! Today we are celebrating my favorite part about the fall season, apples. But we are not just making ordinary apple pie. We are going beyond the classic to make an incredible apple toffee pie as well as some other unique apple treats. These are next level treats that you are going to be obsessed with. So let's go get started. So we are going to start out by making the toffee for the apple toffee pie. So in my small saucepan here, I am melting a 1/4 cup of butter. And to that, I am going to add in a 1/2 cup of brown sugar and a 1/4 cup of heavy cream. And we're just going to whisk that together until it's nice and smooth. And just cook it for about 1 to 2 minutes or until it is nice and thickened. And we just want to set that aside to cool. So now we are going to need about 8 apples or about 9 cups of sliced apples. So I'm just going to peel and core the apples and then slice them into about 1/4 inch slices. You don't want them too thick so that they're crunchy, but you also don't want them too thin where they're falling apart. So now I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of lemon juice all over the apples. And then I'm adding a 1/2 cup of sugar. 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, a 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg, and a 1/4 teaspoon of allspice, as well as a pinch of salt and 3 tablespoons of cornstarch. So then we just want to toss that all together and set it aside. So now I have my pie tin and I am just laying in 1 9-inch pie crust. And then I'm going to add in half the apples, drizzle on half the toffee sauce, and then the remaining apples and remaining toffee sauce. And that way you get beautiful pockets of toffee all throughout. So now you could choose to just place the other pie crust on top and cut some slits in there for ventilation, but I am doing a lattice crust. So I am laying 5 strips of dough down vertically, and then we are going to alternate lifting up every other strip. So 2 strips and then 3 strips, while laying down the strips horizontally. And then we just want to seal the edges and pinch them together. And then I am brushing the top with an egg wash, just a whisked egg. My oven is preheated to 350 degrees, and we just want to bake this for about 50 to 60 minutes, or until golden brown and bubbling, and then you just want to allow it to cool on a wire rack. This pie seriously brings apple pie to a whole nother level. That creamy toffee sauce just really adds to the natural juices of the apples, and it's just really the perfect amount of sweetness with those tart apples and crispy, buttery crust. So now moving on to my apple butter snickerdoodle. So we are actually making the apple butter. You can also purchase it at the store. And I have my handy dandy little best helper here with me today. So to my slow cooker, I am adding 3 pounds of apples, peeled, cored, and chopped, as well as 2 cups of sugar, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/8 a teaspoon of cloves, 1/8 a teaspoon of ginger, and a pinch of salt. And I should mention it's 1 cup of sugar and 1 cup of brown sugar. So then we're just going to cook it on high for 1 hour, stirring occasionally, and then turn it down to low for an additional 4 to 5 hours, or until it is dark brown and the apples have broken up. And if you want it to be even smoother, you can use a stick blender or a regular blender to get out any remaining lumps. So now onto the cookies. I have 7 tablespoons of butter softened that I am just whipping until smooth. And then I am adding in 3.5 ounces of softened cream cheese, 1/2 cup of sugar, and 1/2 cup of brown sugar. And we're just going to whisk that until combined. And now I am adding in 1 egg and 1 egg yolk, as well as a teaspoon of vanilla. And again, we just want to whisk that until incorporated. And then for our dry ingredients, I have 2 cups of flour, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And we just want to mix this until everything comes together. And of course, you want to make sure you scrape down the sides and bottom of the bowl just to make sure that nothing's stuck in there. So then in a small bowl, I combined 1/3 cup of sugar with 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, and we're just going to roll the dough into 2 tablespoon balls, roll it into the cinnamon sugar, and place them on a parchment-lined baking sheet about 2 inches apart, and then just press your thumb or the back of a spoon into each cookie, and that's where we're putting the apple butter. So now you just want to put about 1/2 tablespoon of apple butter into the center of each cookie. My oven is preheated at 350 degrees, and we're just going to bake them for about 8 to 12 minutes, or until they are nice and golden and set on the edges. I honestly didn't think snickerdoodle cookies could get any better, but the addition of that homemade apple butter, these were gone in like 2 days between our house and sharing with my family. Wow. Okay, so now moving on to the caramel apple cheesecakes, we are going to start by making the crust. So I have about 1/8 a cup of brown sugar combined with 3/4 of a cup of crushed graham crackers, 1/2 a cup of oats, and 1/4 cup of melted butter. And I have my muffin tins lined, made about 9. So we just want to divide this mixture and press it into the bottom of the muffin tins. And just bake it at 350 for about 5 minutes. And then just set those aside to cool. So now moving on to the cheesecake filling, I have 1 8-ounce block of cream cheese, and I'm combining that with a tablespoon of cornstarch, 1/8 a cup of brown sugar, 1/8 a cup of regular sugar, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, and 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon. And we just want to beat that together. I have my hand mixer here. So then we just want to work on our crumble topping. So I have 1 tablespoon of butter melted, and to that I'm adding 1/8 a cup of flour, 1/8 a cup of oats, 1/8 a cup of brown sugar, 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon, and just mix that together. And then I also have 2 apples finely chopped. So we just want to divide the cheesecake mixture into each cup. And then we're going to top that with some apples, and then the crumble topping. And then again at 350 degrees, we are going to bake them for 25 to 30 minutes. And then we want to cool them and refrigerate for a few hours just so they can set. And then I like to drizzle with some caramel sauce. I really hope you enjoyed coming along and making these 3 incredible apple desserts with me that are just a little bit different than the traditional apple pie or apple crisp. I will also link down below my apple video from last year where I did 3 sweet recipes and 3 savory. So if you're looking for more, definitely check that out. If you try any of these recipes, definitely leave me a comment and let me know what you thought. Thank you so much for watching until the end. Happy apple picking, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.